Thank you for joining us. This is the Gateway School District presentation. Tonight we are doing an internet presentation to give parents and community members tips on how to keep our kids safe on the internet. I am so excited to be joined tonight by Miss Michelle Bender and Mr. Michael Crestar. They are staff members at our elementary school. They are our librarians and technology teachers in the elementary schools. My name is Mike Mateo. I'm the principal of Evergreen Elementary School, and we'd like to thank you. We have been partnering with Common Sense Media in our classrooms and online to bring lots of resources to our community. So tonight we're going to hit on a lot of those. And at this time, we're going to turn it over to Miss Bender, who's going to kick us off. Thanks, Miss Bender.
Hello, thank you so much for joining us. So Mr. Crestar and I have put together a presentation. He's going to start. Let me share my screen so that we are ready. And Mike, just let me know when it's time to turn.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. As Mr. Mateo said, my name is Mike Crestar. I'm the K-12 library chair. And I think it's important, even though we opened this up to the elementary and middle school students, it's important to remember that internet safety is something that we take very seriously K-12. So later on in the presentation, when we start talking about some of them, they will be appropriate for older kids. I think it's important just to keep that in mind because our kids are growing up very quickly, and as they change grades from one building to another, some of the things we talk about and the sites that we give you to keep in touch with might be something that you want to bookmark. Okay, Michelle, would you change that? So I wanted to first start by talking about what is a digital citizen. And this is something that we talk about with our kids starting in kindergarten. And as I said, it is something in our curriculum the whole way up to 12th grade. In the K-4 buildings, we have at least 5 of our lessons every year just on being a good digital citizen and internet safety. When they go to 5th through 8th grade, it's continued there as well. And excuse me, instead of it being solely the responsible of the library media specialist, it still is part of the library media specialist job there, but it also branches out into some of the other classroom teachers areas. So what is a good digital citizen? It's someone who uses technology responsibly. And I think that's something, the key word, something that we need to remember is responsibility, because the internet is constantly changing and everything that we do on the internet changes from day to day, and how our children use it changes from day to day. But responsibility does not change. It's something that we need to keep in the back of our minds always, whether they're at home or at school or at a friend's house. They need to act responsibly. They use the internet to learn and create and participate in the many different ways that are there. But the number one key is being responsible. So everything from balancing their time that they spend online, which we'll talk about in a little bit, to staying safe, protecting their private information, respecting themselves and others, standing up to cyberbullies, reporting cyberbullies, and respecting copyright and intellectual property, which is something that we normally get into in the 4th grade level. And then 4th through 12th, we talk more about copyright and intellectual property, because it is kind of a subject that's harder for kindergarten through 3rd graders to understand. And last but not least, managing their digital footprint, which we'll also talk about here in a minute. Okay. The one site that we partner with and we use very extensively, and Mr. Mateo is going to put this link up in the chat for us, and it's all over our website. It's over the main website. It's on all the library websites, but we have it linked everywhere, is Common Sense Media or Common Sense Education. And as we talk about it this evening, those are interchangeable because it's the same website. But what is common sense education? It's being a good digital citizen. It's more than knowing your way around the web, because our kids know the way around the web. It seems like when they come in kindergarten, they might not be able to write their name. They may not even remember their last name, but they have no problem getting onto the internet and finding a game that they like or doing something that they're used to doing at home. But it's about connecting and collaborating in ways that we didn't even know were possible. And I think that last sentence is something that's important to think about now, because since March, when we got thrown into this pandemic and our kids were sent home and the teachers were sent home, we've all been thrown into a tizzy with all this new stuff that we have to learn, and how do we connect, and there's so many issues with internet connections, and people aren't trained on how to use a program or how to upload files or how to take a picture. And even though our kids seem to pick it up very easily, there's still a lot of issues with it. So that's one of the greatest needs of why we need common sense education. The common theme throughout the district, and we start this in kindergarten, are these 3 points: being respectful, being responsible, and being safe. And if you're ever in our schools, especially the K-4 elementary buildings, those 3 things are plastered everywhere. I know at CSE and at University Park, at Ramsey, Evergreen, any classroom you go into, you see those 3 things posted on the walls. They're posted in the halls. I've even seen them posted in the bathrooms. Those are our common themes: be respectful, be responsible, be safe. And this is something that we try to drive home with them. This isn't just a school issue. This is good for home. You should be respectful to your parents and the people that you live with. You should be responsible when you're at home, and you definitely should be safe. But it kind of carries over to the playground, to the cafeteria, if they're playing at the neighborhood park, but certainly on the internet, because one of the biggest problems that we seem to have with kids is they don't realize that when they go online, that it just doesn't disappear. It goes out to the world. They're exposing themselves and their information to the world and everybody out there, and there's no way of getting that back. Just like this recording tonight, Mr. Mateo's recording it. It's going out on YouTube. Even if he deletes this, it's out there. There's going to be a copy of it somewhere. And that's a very hard concept for our students to understand. So, they may be mad at somebody and call them a name or something. It doesn't disappear, even if they apologize. And that's a hard concept. So that's why the common theme of everything that we do with online education is be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. So there are 5 things that we talk about. There are 5 things that we talk about that kids should never, ever give out. And we start talking to them, like I said, in kindergarten about this, but we hammer it in kindergarten, in 1st grade, in 2nd grade, in 3rd grade, in 4th grade. By the time they get to 3rd or 4th grade, they kind of get sick of hearing it, but it's important that they continue to hear it, because when they get to 3rd and 4th grade, they don't think about it as much, it seems. Some kids do, but not all of them. And the reason we talk so much about the big 5 and why these 5 things listed here are so important is that if they give out any one of these 5 things listed, their name, their address, their phone number, their school, or a photo of themselves, any one of those things can be used to track your child down. Any one. And if you don't believe me, just go on the internet and put in one of those things, and you'll probably be amazed at what you can find out about your own child. So, there's a lot of times that kids will be on a gaming site and they want to know their name. We talk to them about why they shouldn't give out their real name. Always use some type of nickname. Never give out their real address. If it does require an address, really, if it requires any of these, the first thing we tell them is that they have to talk to an adult. Whoever is responsible for them should be making that decision. not them. And Michelle's going to talk to you about that in a little bit with some of the ages and some of the other gaming issues. But first and foremost, they need to talk to an adult, whoever's in charge of them. They shouldn't be entering anything into the computer without their approval and their assistance. Secondly, none of this real information should be given out. If it requires a name, use a made-up nickname. We talk to them about how to do that. If it requires an address, make up an address. Same thing with phone number, even school. Kids don't think about school like it's, they just really don't think it's a big issue. So it's interesting to talk to the kids about why is, giving information out about your school a big deal. And at CSE, I always say to them, listen, if you give out your school and you say, I'm not going to tell my name, my phone number, I know that's bad. I'm not going to tell them where I live, but I am going to tell them it's okay to tell them where I go to school. All of our schools are on the internet. There's Google Maps that locate them. The address is there. There's pictures there. I mean, go to any school in this country and there's a website for them. So if your child tells them, oh, I go to Cleveland Stewart Elementary School, all they have to do is come sit out, go on that website and look. Cleveland Stewart is in school from 9 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. And all they have to do is go wait outside the school to see who's going in and out. And for us in particular, because we're on campus and the public library is right across the street, anybody could sit at the public library parking lot watching the school all day long. And, even if your son or daughter gets picked up by you as an adult or they get on the bus, all they have to do is follow you home. And now they have your address and they know where your child lives. And the fifth one, photo, is probably the one that parents seem to violate more than children, because you're also proud of your child. You love your son or daughter and you're proud of their birthday party. You're proud of what they did in school. Maybe they became a Cub Scout, whatever, but you like to post pictures on your accounts. And the problem with that is, let's say you take a picture of your son or daughter's 7th birthday party and you post it on Facebook. Now their image is on Facebook. And even if you delete it, it does not go away. Because one of the things when you sign up for any of those free services like Facebook is, and nobody reads this because who's going to sit there and read 150 pages of small legal type, but it basically says that anything you put into the computer is theirs. It legally becomes theirs and they can do with it as they want. So everything is recorded. Now you can go in and delete that picture, but there's still a record of it. And they are using those photos for facial recognition software. So it seems to me like the examples that I've talked to students about, that adults seem to violate the students' rights with their photo more than the kids do. Because like I said, we do hammer this at home. We do hammer it home at school a lot. So they hear it from us constantly, but I often hear, well, my mom just posted my picture on the internet. And once it's on there once, that's really all it takes, because facial recognition software has gotten so good that even a partial face, it usually picks up even a partial, recognition of a partial face. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later too. Okay, this is the website, Common Sense Media, that we were talking about. That is the link, but as I said, Mr. Mateo was supposed to put that in the chat for us, right, Mike? So if you, want to go, Michelle's going to talk to you about what this site is and what it does a little bit more, but we want to make sure that you have that link. It is in, like I said, it is in the chat here, and it's also listed on all of our websites, the schools, the libraries, or you can just type in Common Sense Media and it will come up. Michelle?
All right, thanks, Mike. So I think a message for parents when we think about this is, I wish I could tell you that we have a magic button and you just click the button and you're done and everything's safe. But as Mike mentioned, not only is the internet changing every day, but your children are growing and changing every day. And therefore the interaction that they have with media, all types of media, is constantly changing. So for us to actually truly keep our kids safe as we can, it needs to be an open dialogue and a continued dialogue. We are talking about it. As Mike said, we have at least 5 lessons, but that's 5 50-minute sessions. You know, think about all of the other time. And I will tell you that if the kids aren't in school, when the kids aren't engaged in school, or they're going to these sites, this is where they are. And that's what they're talking about when they have free time. So to really keep our kids safe, we need to be listening. We need to stay informed and stay educated, because even if you think you have it locked down on a site, the sites are always changing. I keep thinking about the whole thing with TikTok. There's going to be an ownership change. How does that affect things? So just because you think you have it under lock, like locked down, things might change. So this website, I have not found anything better. And I just want to quickly go there and show you 2 things that I want you to see. So first of all,
I'm sorry, while she's bringing that up, I just want to reiterate what she said is the listening to your child, because Michelle and I think we're both pretty, we're pretty good at this. We try to keep up with as much as we can, but I think we would both agree that we often find out about these new sites by talking to your children, because kids always seem to have something new. There's something that we haven't heard of. You just have to talk to them. You have to listen to them, and you have to get on there and, keep an eye on it. So thank you, Michelle, for bringing that up, because I think that's extremely important.
It's the bus lines. I learned so much in the bus lines.
Right.
When they're waiting to get on their bus, because they're spending time talking about how they're going to meet up after school. So I heard a student today, and I complimented her. She's in 4th grade. I'm going to finish my homework on the bus, number 1, and then I'm going to email you. So now that they're on Google Classroom, they're talking about email. Well, last year in the bus line, they were using TikTok to communicate with each other. So that's how I hear about what media, what format they're using to communicate with each other.
Right.
That's how I find out. So what's amazing about Common Sense Media is you do a search, and apps, books. I use this for books before I purchase books, if it's elementary, middle school, if I'm not sure if it's appropriate. Websites, games, anything you can think of. And what I love about it is it breaks it down. So it brings it up. It immediately shows you the age that they recommend. I do find that Common Sense Media is more conservative with their age recommendations than other sites, but they'll show you what parents say and kids say, which is often different than Common Sense. This is what I love. They break everything down: educational value, positive messages, value, violence, consumerism, language, sex, drinking, drugs, and smoking. So those aspects. And if you think, okay, well, oh my goodness, what's the language? You click that and it tells you exactly. So if there's a movie, if you're looking up a movie, they will tell you the exact lines, the exact swear words that are said, and the exact context in which it's said. They give you what parents need to know. They give you reviews. They give you a summary. And then they also give you talking points. So as I said, one of the best ways to keep your kids safe is to keep an open dialogue. And this helps you with, if you say, well, I don't even know what Roblox is all about, what am I going to say? It helps you keep that dialogue open, and then gives you details.
Michelle,
Yes?
Could you just stop right there where you are? Because I always find it interesting. No, back up. Could you go back to the top there? You were right. We're the apparent age, age of, the recommendation. So I just want to point out, because I always find this amazing when I do this with parents, that the professionals at the site are giving you an age 13, for example, on this. Parents say, oh, okay, maybe age 10. The kids are always below that. And this isn't too much below what a parent would say, only 1 year, but it's 4 years younger than what the professionals say that kids should be hearing and seeing and working with. To me, that's huge. 4 years, think about it. what can a 4-year-old do from the day they're born until they're 4 years old? There's a big difference between a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old. Language, the things that they've been exposed to, the things that they talk about. So I love that they put that right at the top. And I feel pretty confident that anytime you look anything up, you're going to find that the kids say it's a lot lower than what the parents or the professionals say.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I'm sure, your 9-year-old is saying, well, I have it. My friends have it.
Right.
So the other thing I love is this parents need to know tab. I mean, the way they organize things, it's just so at your fingertips. So we need to constantly be educating ourselves. Well, they have it. What age group do you need? What topic? My kid wants a cell phone. They have a topic. And then they have the ultimate guide to, pretty much every app that any of you asked for when we put our survey out. They have an ultimate guide for TikTok, for Roblox. So in addition to that review that I showed you where it has those ages, when you click on that, these ultimate guides, sometimes they have a quick video, and then they have a hyperlinked table of contents for anything you want. How does it work? Is it appropriate for kids? What age? So I find this resource invaluable to anybody that I talk to.
And I don't think it's overwhelming with too much information. Like, the videos are short, to the point, they cut right to what's important to parents. And each of those links are, very easy to read and very specific. I don't think a lot of people want to read through 30 pages of information about something. Nobody has time. And that's another thing that I love about this site.
Oh, and it breaks it down. I have teachers, if they want to show a video, if they want to show a movie, if they have books, we all go straight to Common Sense Media before we put it out to our kids, just to see what everybody has to say. So please, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us, but this is our go-to. So Mike brought up that age 13, and I find it interesting that I have a lot of kids that are 7, 8, 9 telling me they're on social media. So if you've ever wondered, why is the cutoff for these social media sites 13? Why is it that age? Why do you have to be 13 to be on Snapchat? It's not because these websites think that at 13, children are mature enough to handle it. That's not it at all. And even if I think back to myself at 13, I was not. Thank goodness this stuff wasn't around.
I have nieces that are 13, and believe me, they have a lot of growing up to do.
The reason for that cutoff, and I don't think a lot of people understand that, the reason for the cutoff is this law, the COPPA law, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. If a website or an app or any online entity, a game, is marketed for kids under 13, they are required to put in protections for your child's personal information. Name, address, that big 5. Name, address, email address, passwords, all of those things. They are required to protect that information. Whenever a child or a parent of a child signs them up for an account for a website or a social media app that requires you to be 13 years of age or older, and you say, yep, I'm 13, and forego that, and I've talked to so many of my students that, yep, I'm 13. As soon as you do that, that site is no longer required to protect your child's information. It's out there like all of ours is. So,
and I think too, Michelle, the thing, like I had said earlier, we work with these kids from kindergarten on, they know the big 5 they're not supposed to put in there. They know that they should have a parent do it with them, but we've run into many parents that just do it for them. And they click the, yes, my child is 13, thinking it's no big deal. But that's why I'm so glad Michelle's talking about this, because as she said, as soon as you do that, you've given away those rights. You no longer have them.
So, I know that it took me a while to understand. I kept going, that's weird that the age is 13. That's a weird cutoff. Where did they come up with that age? And I'll tell you, these websites, these apps, they don't care about the well-being of your child. I mean, they're out there to get their product out there. And the reason they're cutting it off at 13 is because they're legally required to do so. As soon as you give them, yep, I'm 13, you're taking away that requirement to protect your child's information. Mike, do you want to do the video or do you want to move on?
It's up to you. I mean, I think you pretty much covered it.
Okay. So I have two more things to share. I wanted to spend some time talking about grooming behavior. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because over the last 5 years, I would say, and it gets worse every year, maybe it's because teachers and parents are starting to realize that this is part of my curriculum and how actively I talk to my students about being safe. But I have had several families come to me and talk to me about their experiences with grooming behavior. It is not something that is happening out there. It's not something that will happen later. It is happening now. It is happening here, and it is happening to our students. So grooming is the act of maneuvering another individual into a position that makes them feel isolated, dependent. It's, let's say, buttering your kid up, making them feel safe, and making them feel like they have a friend. So we're talking about the apps. I will tell you the ones that have happened for me, for my kids. It's happened on Fortnite. It's happened on an app called Dub Smash, which is a predecessor to TikTok. It's very similar to that. It's still around. The privacy controls aren't as stringent. Then there's WhatsApp, which is a communication app. And what happens every time is they get a message. They're playing games. They're playing against this person. They see it all the time. And as Mike mentioned earlier, it is such a hard concept, especially for my younger kids, 1st and 2nd grade. It's an abstract concept to talk to them about online friends and in-person friends. You can see they're not getting it. It's right. A conversation we all need to be having all the time. And they'll say, okay, but I play Fortnite with my classmate, Johnny. Is he my online friend? Okay, no, you're playing an online game, but you know that is Johnny. You know his screen name. You know that is Johnny. He is who he says he is. An online friend is somebody that you just play Fortnite with. You've never seen them in person. You don't know who they are. You don't know that they are being honest. You don't know that they are telling you who they say they are. And I have had several students have this visceral reaction, panic, tears. That's my friend. You can't tell me that's not my friend. They're going home and this is who they're interacting with, and they've built a relationship with this person on Fortnite or TikTok or Snapchat. To me, that's immediate signs of this person is being groomed, because there shouldn't be that panic, right? So I've had several parents say, one woman in particular, she has, and it's brilliant, she has a family phone. And everything that the kids are connected to, all messages go to this phone. And she saw messages. I'm your friend. You're my best friend. You don't have to tell your mom about us. I will always protect you. Don't tell the outside world. I've had, you are so pretty. Why don't you contact me on Instagram? And then the response was, I don't have an Instagram account. My parents won't let me. Okay, well, download WhatsApp, because you can do that without your parents' permission. And then we can talk. I'm getting, it's happening. And
I think, Michelle, with a lot of these kids, the point that you made with, especially the kid that got so upset that they really thought that was their friend. When you think about it from a child's point of view, it is an abstract concept, but they spend so much time with them. They're doing something with this person that they love to do. If they're playing Fortnite or whatever it is, And how many hours a day are kids allowed to be online doing those things? So they have contact with them, and the person on the other side of that computer is telling them all the things they want to hear. You know,
And how
I'm,
does an
and
8-year-old understand why someone would do that,
right,
right?
right,
So as we said, and I say this to the students, your interaction with online media is up to you and your family. It might be different. Your comfort level might be different than mine and might be different than someone else's. It's all about the conversation. So my advice is, if you want your child to have the interactive component of these games like Fortnite and TikTok, and you feel that you like that they are interacting with the outside world, then you need to have a hard conversation with your child about the types of people they might run into. If you think, I don't really want to have that conversation right now, well, then you need to work on privacy settings on each app so that they are not interacting, right?
but just keep in mind, no matter how well you think you're doing with, you know, the privacy settings, children always seem to find a way around these things.
And I'll get into that in a second.
Right.
So it's not something that's happening across the globe. This is happening here. It's happening to our kids. So we need to prepare them as best we can. So in addition to that, to Common Sense Media, the website, I put together a little document. I'm actually going to stop share for a second, and because I don't know how else to do that. In the chat, I am sharing this Google document that I'm going to share with you in a moment.
You're so technologically savvy, Michelle.
I don't know about that. Don't. Okay. So, you said that, you jinxed me.
Oh, sorry.
All righty. So here is the document that I put together. So what I did, we took that survey that went out into the public and said, what do you guys want to learn about? And I took the 4 most popular sites that students are using that you asked about. And I put the recommended age, and this is from Common Sense Media. You'll see they're all 13 plus for them. I give you a little blurb about each one, and then there is a video for each one. Each one will show you how to set up parental controls for that app. Now, let's start with Fortnite. I was looking for a great YouTube video on parental controls for Fortnite. 90% of the videos on YouTube are how to get around the parental controls on Fortnite. If there is a way to get around it, that's what the kids are talking about in the bus line. If there is a way, they will know, they will share, it will spread like wildfire. That's why it has to be a constant conversation. And I think you need to let your kid know that, like, they're never in trouble. It's learning how to be smart and safe. So you need to talk to them about it and work with the privacy settings with them. If you make it you're going to get in trouble for trying something, they're going to hide it from you, because there are videos. I will tell you, this video is a little long. It's 30 minutes. First of all, most of the videos I found were with sketchy people. Sketchy. This is a parent, and I really like this video. He spends the first 5 minutes. So if you just want parental controls, first 5 minutes, he shows you how to set them up. But then he goes and demos different modes. So I guess in Fortnite, there's the battle royale where you're playing against other people, and then there's the solo version, save the world, okay? And then there's other modes that are, I guess, less violent. So when there's no blood or whatever. So he actually goes and demos, and you can see him play it, so you can see what it looks like before you get in there. So this is a good video because, you know, if you just want to set the parental controls, cool. But if you want to check it out before you let your kids see it, that's actually a really good video. The next one is Roblox. Now, I hear the kids talk about it all the time, and I have very mixed feelings. Jesse, our tech man, who I think is the most magical guru in the world, he's what keeps Gateway up and running. he will not let his children use this site. When I jumped on, I thought it's a magical world where as far as our kids' creativity, it lets you create games. And then there's the option of other people playing games you create. How magical. But it's a kind of a wiki site where everybody can jump in there. So I would definitely, I know children love it. I would definitely think about, as they even said, there's iffy involvement and possibly predatory users. This is one of the major sites. These 4 are the major sites that pedophiles are using to target children.
I think, Michelle, if I can just jump in for a second, I mean, I have the same feelings about that site that you do, and I wouldn't let my nieces or nephews on it if they really cared what I thought. But it's hard, I think, sometimes for parents because it like that does have some educational value to it. But I think the different thing is that, you know, if you as a parent are willing to sit down there with your child and play the game with them so that you don't get into that wiki experience and contacted by other people, that's one thing. But if this is a site that you're just going to let your kid on by themselves, that's never a good thing. Right.
I will say, I did see with Roblox, they do have their chat is moderated. So moderated by humans. That's something to look for as far as is the site moderated? And if you go on the site, you should be able to see right away, if something goes wrong, this is who I contact. If I feel that I want to block a user, if someone's being inappropriate, there should be right there on the site. And I do see with Roblox, there are places, but I don't think I would ever let my child be alone in the room using that. There's a YouTube video for parental controls. Snapchat, we all know about it. This is something I learned from last year's workshop, and I find it fascinating. So there is a My Eyes Only setting in Snapchat. And Snapchat advertises it as, hey, we're giving you more privacy. And my instant thought was, if I have my Snapchat on a password protected phone, why do I need more privacy? Because those photos aren't appropriate and you're hiding them from people. And I had a parent at the last meeting say, my friend thought she was being so savvy and she's sitting down with her kid and she's looking at her snaps and she's talking about her memories. Well, her daughter had all kinds of inappropriate photos hidden in the My Eyes Only in her memories. And that is a separate password you have to set up.
And honestly, I'm surprised that Snapchat is still around, and because you know how these things go in and out every year or so. But then the more I thought about it, I thought it's because of the For Your Eyes Only type of thing and the privacy that it allows them to have, that it's still around. If this was not giving kids a way, to hide information from their parents, it wouldn't be fun anymore, and
Right.
it would have disappeared.
In this video, they do talk about the My Eyes Only setting. Again, they kind of talk about it like it's a positive thing. And I think major red flag, but that is there. And then finally, TikTok. Everybody in my school calls me the TikTok police because last year it was a huge thing. And I had somebody in our survey mention that she's conflicted because TikTok's really easy to use. It gets the creative juices flowing. Absolutely. And here was the problem. If your account is not private, not only can I see all of your TikToks, I can see every one of your videos. I can take your video and share it. I can text it to someone, I can email it to somebody, and I can message you. I can say, hey, nice video, stranger, and it's there. Now, once you do set your privacy settings, I can't see anything because I have teachers I work with. My daughter just set up a TikTok account, and I need you to see if you can find them and what you can see. So I've been investigating. Once it's private, you can't see it. But there's also something they talk about in this video. It's duets. So there's multiple features. And what concerns me about duets is a duet lets you take somebody else's TikTok and then do what they're doing next to them or interact with them. And I feel like that could open you up to bullying and somebody, you know, bringing up that video and mocking you or making fun of you, or just strangers. So there's several different things that you need to look for in the privacy settings. You need to enable duets to friends only or no one, and go through that. And that video goes in there.
Michelle, one thing I want, if you could just stay on those two for a second, look at the recommended ages, not even 13, but 15 plus, 16 plus. There is a reason for that. And I love TikTok personally as an adult. I think it's great. There's some funny videos on there. There's great music. But I can honestly say, and you know me well, I don't normally blush, but there have been a few things on TikTok that I thought, wow, how did that get on there? And I wouldn't think that some of the things that are on there are even appropriate for 15-year-olds. So if there's one thing that I can personally recommend to any parents about, especially Snapchat and TikTok, is you need to get on there and you know, fool around with it yourself and see what's really there and what's available. Because as Michelle said earlier, you know, there are always ways to seem to get around things. Things are constantly changing. Do you want your child interacting with that type of an app and or with those types of people that might be on there or contacting them?
And then finally, just to wrap up, I had someone ask, and it was she loved that her child loves TikTok and it got the creative juices flowing. So what I did, I found 4 apps that are on your kid's iPad through Gateway. They're free, they're there. They get your creative juices flowing, and there's no social interaction. So it lets them create, it lets them be creative, and you can share it with friends and family, but there's no component where you have to worry about somebody jumping in. Clips, I will say, it's one of the most intuitive. It's so easy to learn and to use. I would say maybe a tech-savvy first grader, but definitely second, third, and fourth grade. It lets you can record yourself. You can put filters over yourself so you look like you're a cartoon character. You can take pictures and put them in the video and record over yourself. It's very easy to use. You can save it to your photo library and share it with friends and family. So I think this is a very family-friendly, really easy for elementary. GarageBand, it's very robust. It's really a fun app. And this link will take you to a really great how to get started. Now, I will tell you, I have a 3rd grade teacher that just the other day, I sent this out and she was interested. She had them use GarageBand to do skip counting because you can change your voice. So they changed their voice to sound like a robot while they were skip counting. So like you can use this to play around all the way up to composing your own original score. So it kind of looks a little intimidating. I would definitely say 3rd grade, 4th grade, but the more you use it, the more creative things you can do. And then the last 2 are both coding apps. Swift Playgrounds, your child has to be an independent reader or you have to sit there with them. So I use this with my 3rd and 4th graders that blow through my coding lessons. It helps them learn the Swift programming language and they love it. They run with it. I will tell you, it takes a day or 2 on there before they're beyond me and I can't help them. It gets complicated quick, but the kids that love code love this app. And then if you have a younger 1st grade, 2nd grade kid that loves to code, Tinker Junior, they can get on and it shows them the way. So if you really want your kid to be able to be creative, but you don't want to even worry about them stumbling out into the wild, wild, wild world, these are the apps that I recommend.
And I think those last 2, Swift Playgrounds and Tinker Junior, are both excellent programs for higher level thinking. So, you know, typically are those kids that like to code that, you know, you want to improve that part of their brain. And I think both of those programs do that brilliantly. And the nice thing is they're free.
Now they might, now that I'm thinking about it, I know Clips and GarageBand are automatically on your iPads. If you don't see this picture or this picture on your kid's iPad, you would probably have to add it through the Mosel manager. If you want to email me or Mike, we can always help you with that. So if you don't see that and you're having trouble getting that on there, you can contact me. I can help you get there. It's there, but you might have to just add it.
Right. And it's still free. It's not something you have to purchase. It just has to be added.
And that's what we have.
That's some great information. Just one little thing about GarageBand is our music teachers are increasing their use with that app as well. So parents at home, you may see them actually coming home doing some assignments in GarageBand. So a great tool that our kids are using across the curriculum. So thank you so much. And Michelle, a lot of great tips on the apps. Really important stuff. I'm now going to go check my daughter's TikTok account. And also her Snapchat memories. So learned a lot. We're going to post that resource as well on our Common Sense Media site. We will be posting the recording of this tonight as well there. And we will also get that out to anybody that's interested. So thank you so much for all that great information. Is there anything else you want to conclude with tonight?
I think that we just need to think about the three things that we talked about. Michelle highlighted them too. You have to spend this time listening and talking with your children, but you need to remind them that they're not in trouble if somebody contacts them online. They need to think of the three things we talk about in school: to be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. And if they do that, then they should they should feel comfortable enough with you if one of these issues arise. And Michelle and I both have had this happen over, the past 2 or 3 years with some of our kids. When we start talking about this, they definitely do come up and start giving us a lot of information about what's going on with it. So thank you.
And this is a community thing. There's no way we're all going to know. So if you hear anything, if you stumble across a new app or, and I try to tend to share that out with families or my principals when I see something new that's out there. So never hesitate. Our emails are out there. If you ever see anything, reach out and contact us and we'll see what we can do. Thank you for joining us.
And we are so fortunate to have you both that are actually looking out for our kids. It is astounding when you come to us with those personal stories, and really kind of hits home to know that some of our kids here at Gateway have experienced these situations, and you are giving them tools of how to handle it. So great job. And again, that is our big message, that it is a community effort. So together we can keep our kids safe and while using the wonderful tools that we have available. So thanks to both of you. And we appreciate everybody that's joined us tonight. And again, we'll provide this recording out on our website, and we'll be sharing this out as well to some other locations as well. So special thanks to Hope Benson of the Monroeville Community Public Library. She usually hosts us. So now that we're virtual, she's going to host us virtually and share this recording as well. So thank you, Hope, and the Monroeville Public Library.